As I stepped on the gas, I muttered a prayer of thanks for old Johnson, the janitor of the medical school building, who had called Dugan just as he was reaching for the blanket that covered my passenger. It was a few minutes after 1 as I drove out of town. I could picture Marcia's father fuming in my lateness. The sun was scorching in my open car as I drove along River Road, looking for a place to hide the body. I needed one where there were trees to hide me. The hours that followed were like a nightmare. The heat was stifling, and I could feel my hand shaking on the wheel from nervous tension. I drove and drove and drove, looking for a place to get rid of the body. But the whole countryside seemed to be swarming with people, families picnicking, Boy Scouts camping, kids in swimming, couples in parked cars. No matter where I turned, there was always someone in sight. Little spots danced before my eyes. Waves of faintness swept over me. My hand began to ache, and my head, too. Unbearably. It was already long after 3. I was late for my date with Marcia and her father. That didn't matter. Nothing mattered but to get rid of the body in the back of the car. I had to get rid of it. I had to. I drove, mile after mile, turning from one road to another, searching endlessly for a safe place to stop. Then I realized I was running out of gas. I saw a gas station ahead, and I decided to stop there. It was a risk, but I had to take it.
Okay, mister. That's 5 gallons. Want me to check your oil?
No, thanks. How much?
It's $1.15. Whew, boy, it's hot, isn't it?
Yes, it's hot, all right. Here you are.
That's $1.15 out of 5. Now get your change. Hey, this rear tire looks a little flat.
It's all right.
You want me to check it? Won't take but a minute.
It's all right, I tell you.
Okay, mister, just you say. Your rear door's open. I better shut that for you.
Leave that door alone.
But you don't want to drive along with your rear door open. That's funny. There's something in the car jamming it. I better have a...
Leave that door alone and get my change.
But you... All right, mister. Just as you say. I'll get your change.
He hurried into the station. I looked in the back of the car and saw what had kept the door from closing. It was a hand. His hand sticking out from under the blanket. The attendant had seen it. He would be phoning the police. I drove faster and faster. The police would be on the lookout for me now. My whole future depended on what I did in the next few minutes. And then it came to me. In one brief moment, it came to me. The perfect way to get rid of the body. It was so simple, so perfect, that I laughed aloud with relief. A half hour later, I was parked in an alley behind one of the university buildings. It was Sunday, and the place was deserted. Despite my fatigue and aching head, it took me but a moment to carry the body into the basement of the medical building and down the corridor to the basement room where the bodies for the dissecting classes were kept. Where does a wise man hide a leaf? In a forest. Where does a wise man hide a body? In the dissecting room. The room was big and cool and dimly lit. The far end was a long metal tank. I reached the tank and lowered him to the stone floor beside it. I had only to open the tank, slip him inside, and leave. I reached for the lid of the preserving tank and was about to open it when I heard a voice.
Hey, who's in there?
It was Johnson, the janitor. I quickly dropped behind the tank and waited, holding my breath.
I heard you. Stop hiding and come out. I know you're here. I just saw your car through the window. You better come out if you know what's good for you.
He'd seen my car. He knew I was in the room, but if I kept my head, there was a chance, just a chance. All right, Johnson. Here I am.
Baxter, eh? So it's you, is it? You're the one who...
Johnson, wait a minute. Let me explain.
Explain, huh? After last night, I'm not listening to any fancy stories. I'm the one who gets blamed when... What's that on the floor behind you there?
On the floor? What? Why, nothing, Johnson.
Do you think I'm blind or something? Step aside and let me see what... Why, it's a body.
Yes. It's a body.
So that's it. I thought you were trying to steal one. Instead, you were bringing it.
Yes, I was bringing...
And just what were you going to do with that gentleman on the floor? Put him back in the tank with the rest?
Yes, that's right. I thought he might not be noticed.
As if I wouldn't have known.
Well, go on. Call the cops. Let's get it over with.
All right, Baxter. Of course, I don't have to call the cops. Nobody knows about this but you and me.
What do you mean?
Well, I was going to make a report, but this way there's no harm done, so I might be able to overlook the whole thing if I was persuaded properly.
You might overlook it?
That's right. You just leave this fella to me and there's no fuss because nobody's the wiser.
You'd do that? You'd keep your mouth shut?
I guess I could be persuaded to.
How much?
Well, suppose we say $50.
$50?
That isn't much, considering what would happen if I reported you.
Oh, no, it isn't $50. That's very cheap to help me cover up a murder.
Murder? More of your jokes. I'm not talking about murder. I'm talking about putting number 37 here back in his proper place.
Number 37?
Yes, 37. He just came in yesterday from the county poor farm, and last night he disappeared. Stolen by you and your drunken friends and dressed up for a joke. Well, I don't like jokes like that. I drove downtown a while back to tell Dugan the constable about it, but... Well, I didn't tell him anything. It would mean trouble for me for being asleep on the job.
Number 37. He was stolen from here last night.
Aye, that's what I said. As long as you've brought him back, there's no harm done. That's why I'm willing to keep it quiet.
Then I didn't kill him. It was just a joke somebody played on me. Just a practical joke.
Here. What's wrong with you?
It's a joke. It's a very good joke on me. This whole afternoon driving in the heat, trying to get rid of him, was just a joke. A joke!
For goodness sakes, he's fainted.
Well, that's the story of what happened the day after our graduation party 12 years ago. When I came to, I was in the college hospital. I'd been unconscious a week. They said it was just a slight breakdown brought on by sunstroke. I was all right after a while, but somehow I wasn't interested in law anymore. Marcia and I didn't get married, and I didn't become her father's junior law partner.
Good Lord, Paul. We never knew any of this.
Gosh, Paul, I can't tell you how sorry I am. We never dreamed our gag would turn out like that.
Your gag?
Why, sure. See, after the party broke up that night, we were feeling pretty high, and... Well, it was a crazy idea, but we thought it would be funny to steal a cadaver from the medical college and leave it in your room with your knife in it.
Then it was you? The two of you?
Well, yes, Paul. Gosh, I feel terrible about this, but Well, that day we left, we came up to your apartment to tell you about our little joke, only you weren't in.
We had to rush for our train, but we phoned from the station. Ben, the janitor, answered, and we told him to explain about the cadaver.
I heard him calling, but it didn't stop.
Paul, will you ever be able to forgive us for what happened?
Forgive you? Forgive you? No! No, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, do you hear? Kill you!
Hey, wait a minute.
No! Kill him!
Bert, help me.
Paul!
No.
Paul, let him go!
Choking me.
I kill you! I kill you!
Ah, here he is, men.
Grab him!
Quick, grab him.
Let go of me! Let go!
Quick, now, get him back to the hospital.
I'll kill him!
Take him out.
I'll kill him! I'll kill him! I'll kill him! I'll kill him! Now, you hurt, mister?
No, I'm all right. But you came just in time. He was trying to kill me.
Why, he sure was. He just went crazy.
Well, I'm sure sorry this happened. You see, he slipped away from the hospital this afternoon. We figured he'd head this way.
The hospital?
Yes. Poor fella had a bad breakdown just after he graduated 12 years ago. He's been locked up ever since.
Locked up.
Yeah. He's always been perfectly harmless, though. He just went around all the time looking for a place to hide something. This is the first time he ever got violent. I can't figure out what came over him.
And so the curtain falls on Summer Heat, which was chosen by guest expert Hugh Pentecost, whose latest thriller, Where the Snow Was Red, will be published next month. We welcome your comments on tonight's story. All letters should be addressed to Murder by Experts, care of Mutual Broadcasting System, New York 18, New York. Next week at this time, Murder by Experts brings you the story of a woman who pitted her wits against death. A story selected for your approval by Brett Halliday, creator of the rough, tough detective known as Mike Shane. Until then, this is your host, John Dixon Carr, saying good night.
In our cast were Lawson Zerby, Bryna Rayburn, Ian Martin, Cameron Andrews, Bill Zuckert, and Frank Behrens. Summer Heat by Andrew Evans was adapted for radio by Robert A. Arthur and David Kogan. Original music was composed by Richard LePage. The orchestra was conducted by Emerson Buckley. Murder by Experts is produced and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Kogan. All characters in this story were fictitious, and any resemblance to the names of actual persons was purely coincidental. Phil Tonkin speaking. This is the world's largest network serving more than 500 radio stations, the Mutual Broadcasting System.